Research has found that sleep quality does indeed get a little rusty as we get older, but it's not a fate we'll have to live with. So today we'll discuss aging and sleep. This talk should appeal to anybody over 40 or anyone who has lived through the pandemic, because that's had tremendously bad effects on everybody's adult's sleep. So in the end, I will discuss some solutions that will be helpful for people of all ages. So Dr. Singh is the medical director of the Indiana Sleep Center. So somebody asked Dr. Singh, well, now that I'm getting older, it's harder for me to fall asleep and stay asleep. Why is that? And Dr. Singh, with his esteemed wisdom, says, well, think of your ability to sleep as if you were a car, he says. As the car ages and clocks more miles, it begins to fall apart. It may need more repairs, and the rides become less smooth. And the same thing with your sleep, says Dr. Singh. So basically, researchers have found that sleep quality gets a little rusty as we get older, and there's many reasons for that. So if you are older, over 40, over 50, over 60, over 70, over 80, and I've seen some 90-year-olds who have poor sleep, this will be of big help. And you won't be surprised that when they researched 9,000 people aged 65 and over in a study in 1995, they found that 40% of the patients had at least one sleep complaint over 3 years. And these complaints including difficulty falling asleep, difficulty staying asleep, waking up too early, feeling unrested, and napping during the day. So this is one of the reasons my grandfather, when he was in his 70s, had terrible sleep. It was because he was napping like the whole afternoon. They did a study in 2014 with this was a study with 6,500 older adults. And they basically had typically had either one or two insomnia symptoms over the past month. The research has shown that women are more likely than men to get poor sleep quality, and their sleep quality begins starting earlier in life. So, and this is typically around, can be around the menopausal transition. It can also be around childbirth, but usually with childbirth, the woman's younger and recovers her sleep. But with menopause, sometimes that starts out a lifelong of chronic insomnia. And so we'll look at two cases of that later. So one of the things that you should know is that basically they don't absolutely know why older adults have harder time sleeping, but some of the theories are that the brain, particularly the hippocampus, just doesn't work as well. And this seems to upset the body's circadian rhythms. And this basically seems to deteriorate with age. And they've noticed this with animals. There's ethical problems with studying the brains with some human beings. So that's why they do animal research in this case. Now, so there's the fact that the brain is getting older and just not working as well, including maintaining sleep balance. But then there are also the lifestyle changes. So when people retire or lose their job, their days become less structured and less routine. And routine, sleep likes routine. So if you take nothing away from this talk, remember that sleep likes routine. So as people are retiring, or if they lost their job, they may be waking up later, or they nap during the day, just like my grandfather. And this makes it more difficult to sleep at night. It's like a vicious circle. Also in older adults, there is depression, loneliness, grief, and this grief could be a loss of a loved one. And so this is why that we've essentially all adults have become aging adults during the pandemic because of depression, loneliness, grief, the people we've lost. And then also what Dr. Spira, a researcher in sleep, has noticed is that adults who struggle with their activities like chores, laundry, grocery shopping, meeting with people, going for a walk, are more likely to have more insomnia than older adults who participate in those activities. So one of the great things about Chinese medicine is we look at the person with the disease or the symptom, not just the disease or symptom, we look at the person with the disease, not just the disease. And so one of the things is if you have enough qi or vital energy to do household chores, go for a walk, do the laundry. See, these are really, and a senior citizen, this is exercise, walking up and down the stairs to the laundry room. Maybe it's down, maybe you live in a senior facility in the lawn, or maybe you're younger and live in an apartment and the laundry facility is, a third of a mile away in another building. The walk is good for you. Carrying a little bit is good for you. Of course, meeting with friends is excellent. Walking is the best type of exercise to begin with. So basically, if you're a practitioner, you can work a lot with the diet and lifestyle for sleep. And if you're trying to do it yourself and you have insomnia, you're trying to do it yourself or for a loved one, just look at your routine when you had good sleep and now look at your routine and maybe you can adjust accordingly. Now, I mentioned or touched upon the fact that hot flashes can also, and menopause and the time of change of life can precipitate poor sleep. One of the tidbits you may not know is that men get hot flashes. Yes, that's true. Men get hot flashes, particularly undergoing Western therapies for prostate cancer. So for men and women with hot flashes, these can be very disturbing. And I think one woman basically said that, my hot flashes make me feel like I'm in a horror film, like I'm an alien. Just feel really bad. And I've talked to a couple of weeks ago about a client we had in the Get Well Clinic named Mary. And Mary was in her 40s. She was a nurse. She did not want to take any sleep medication. And she was also going through menopause. So her main symptoms were menopause and sleep. And we used Chinese herbs during the day, and we used a symptomatic formula to help her sleep during at night. And so she reported that her sleep returned to normal and her menopausal symptoms gradually disappeared. So the bottom line is that what works for older people what works for younger people will work for older people as well. So if people over 40, over 50, 60, 70 have poor sleep, remember that consistency and routine is very important. So, and one area of this is a breakdown in American culture. So one of the things that's really interesting is when I go to China, basically people eat like it's time for breakfast. It doesn't matter if you're hungry or not. It's time for breakfast. It's time for lunch. It doesn't matter if you're hungry or not. It's time for lunch. And dinner, it's time for dinner. It doesn't matter if you're hungry or not, right? And so this is hard for many people to do, but it helps balance them. When they know that there's consistent food available, it relaxes them, right? Even if they sit down and eat, they can, don't need to eat that much, but just sitting down with other people can be very good. And this is not out of Chinese culture, but Chinese medicine. They also talk about the mood in which you eat, right? Not so much fighting, not watching violent movies while you're eating. Try to keep it light. Try to be friendly with the people you're eating with, and then maybe go for a walk afterwards. So a regular sleep, regular time to go to bed. I listened to a talk from a researcher at UCSF, local university. And he basically said, don't worry about when you go to bed if you have insomnia or difficulty sleeping. Make sure you have a consistent time you wake up. So that means if you didn't get to sleep, you slept at 5 o'clock, you wake up at 6, if your time to wake up is at 6 o'clock, it doesn't matter if you've gone to bed at 5 a.m. or at 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. or 8 a.m., you're getting up at the same time every day. And this really helps regulate sleep. Other experts recommend Also, you go to sleep at the same time. But the main thing that they would both say is no sleeping in. You want to wake up at a regular time every day. And this helps with melatonin production, and it also helps the body's circadian rhythms. And the last thing I'd like to say is that older adults should really check with their practitioners about the medications they're taking. So high blood pressure medicines can cause people to urinate more frequently at night, and that wakes them up. People with prostate conditions with men, they also wake up a lot. So make sure that you check about any kind of drugs people are taking, because they can interfere with their sleep. So now I just want to end with 3 important tips. Number one of the most important ingredients to help regulate sleep is magnesium. And magnesium is even more important for older individuals. If individuals are constipated, magnesium helps with constipation. Magnesium, you may not know, also supports the bones, probably as well, if not better than calcium. Magnesium also supports the heart and the muscles as well. So one of the best minerals you can think about adding if you have sleep problems is magnesium. And then remember to meditate. This is basically my secret weapon, you could say, in poor sleep. So what I'll do is, if I wake up during the night, the first thing I'll do is try to meditate. And one of the types of meditation is you do a body scan where you start relaxing, or it's sometimes called progressive muscle relaxation. And you just relax either from feet to head or from head down to the toes. So don't forget to meditate. As a friend of mine who's a Zen abbot says, trying to meditate is a type of meditation. And finally, there's some great information on our YouTube channel about herbs and supplements to support your sleep. This concludes our podcast for today. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please comment below and let us know what topics you'd like to hear about. And be sure to like and subscribe to help us grow our channel. If you'd like to know more about us, please visit our website at getwellfoundation.org. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.